Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Tarson and LiquidTLO here on Incineration Zone. Tarson spawning as the yellow Terran player over here at the 10 o'clock position. Meanwhile, across the map we have LiquidTLO spawning as the red Protoss player here on Incineration Zone. Now, I'm kind of curious exactly how Tarson's going to open up on this particular map. Does not look like he's going for any sort of 8 Reaper build, so it does not look like there's going to be heavy Reaper harassment. He may try to go for a 9 Reaper, but no, it looks as though that SCV is going to be start mining as well. So yeah, he's going more for an economic build than anything else. Going to go ahead and drop a supply depot on this front door, so no Reaper harassment there. Liquid, the little one, now moving out with that probe kind of hiccuping there just for a little second. Now passing through all that brush, passing through doodad, and now yeah, that probe is just like kind of like coughing. I don't know why. It just looks kind of funny. Perhaps it's just a little bit of the terrain trying to travel around. Ooh, probe might have gotten stuck. Oh, unable, does not get stuck, able to come back out, and now the probe able to move on in, trying to look for any gas being played down. Barracks now being put down as well in order to get those early Marines. Gateway should be coming up in just a moment, so LiquidTLO having a slight economic advantage with harvesters just because Terran players need to build with their SCVs as opposed to warp them in. In addition to that, the chrono boost from that Nexus giving TLO a little bit more of a harvester advantage here. We see that the assimilator is already down on this Vespene Geyser and this gateway now being put up. So I was really curious on how this is all going to be used. It looked as though the gateway was already, the gateway is already going to produce zealots and move them straight into the base of Tarson. So Tarson may have a little bit of a problem here. Tarson now sending that SCV off that mineral line, now moving around with this SCV and training some Marines as well, or a single Marine as well. SCV coming in from Tarson, gonna do some scouting as well, heading up that ramp, and now we already see that Zealot being trained up, should get a chrono boost. There it is, cutting down the build time from 33 down to 23 essentially, essentially 23 from 33. Anyways, harvesters now 15 to 18. Single Marine trying to chase down a probe. I heard it over here. That probe now going to get stuck over here in this corner. Marine doing a little bit of that move and attack, able to get down that probe and making sure that during that cooldown of the Marine, it is moving in order to make sure that it doesn't lose any distance there. A factory now being placed down. So Tarson training up a second Marine, also getting a factory up. A little curious on why he's getting that factory. We'll see if he tries to go for siege tanks or anything else. TLO now going to destroy these destructible rocks. So these destructible rocks have 3 armor each, essentially reducing the Zealot's 18 or 16 damage attack down to 10. So this Zealot will take a fair amount of time to try to take it down. Cybernetics core already in play, so we should get a Stalker being warped in. No, now a Sentry being warped in. First of all, this map or this particular replay is being cast off of patch 10. Ooh, purposely moving that Zealot away a little bit, and now that SCV does in fact keep track, trying to see if it can engage, and now doing a little bit of a patrol there. Tarson now moving back with that SCV. So yeah, talking about the Sentry has been nerfed a little bit in the most recent patch of StarCraft 2. The damage I believe went from 8 to 6. If my memory serves me correctly, I'll have to go ahead and double check that. Now mass Marines being produced, so double Marines produced, and now that probe may get taken down. There it goes. So nice use of move and attack once again, and I like this expansion here. I really like this natural expansion because you really have just a little bit of a wider choke point here, unable to use this high ledge, however. And then if another player really wants to try to come in through this backside, they can really just siege up tanks or try to blink up with stalkers over here. Now 2 sentries in play. Yeah, the disruption beam and a damage of 8 instead of a damage of 6. The most recent patch 11, just released today. The patch was released before the patch notes were, so people were frantically trying to figure out what exactly was changed. In come those sentries. Sentries now dropping down a force field, and now TLO being forced to move away with that single sentry. We do in fact have a siege tank now moving up onto that high ground, and if there's no sentries in play, this may be a very, very bad move for TLO. Siege tanks and Marines trying to take down one of those pylons. Pylon may get taken down, now going after some of those probes as well, trying to do a little bit of move and attack in order to dish out that damage. TLO losing a lot of harvesters in this whole entire engagement and losing a lot of minerals per second just because he is no longer mining. Gateways now being warped in once again. Will should be able to get down 1, perhaps 2 sentries. Yeah, warping in those sentries, going to go ahead and get a force field down on that lower ramp. We have a command center being built by Tarson, so Tarson getting a force field or getting a command center over here will be able to lift it off and try to establish his natural expansion a little bit sooner than TLO will be able to. Army-wise, Tarson has the larger army sitting at 700 minerals versus LiquidTLO's 4 sentries and 2 zealots. So those sentries and zealots also very strong as well. One of the concerns that I have about the sentry debuff is how effective they're going to be against Mutalisk. Really, that is really one of the issues, because stalkers are not that powerful against Mutalisk. So I was really concerned. I'm really concerned if whether or not Mutalisk harassment is going to be very powerful against Protoss players now. We'll see how that's going to be worked. More units now being warped in, perhaps trying to save up some gas. And getting a warp prism. Getting a warp prism, I do not see any sort of Templar Archives or Twilight Council for Dark Shrine, so it looks to be just perhaps a zealot drop. So those four zealots may get dumped into that warp prism, and then that warp prism can fly over, warp in some units, and instantly you have 8 zealots in your base. That's very difficult to deal with. Mass Marines, over a dozen or so Marines sitting at this front door. Siege tanks also here as well, upgrading to orbital command before lifting off and trying to re-establish here. These siege tanks essentially able to cover the whole entire gap of this distance. So this 1 or 2 siege tanks should be able to dish out that damage if those zealots try to push on in. However, now comes the main army here. I'm listening for that Warp Prism. Warp Prism has a single Immortal, so that Immortal will be used to try to take down those siege tanks. These siege tanks, for some reason, pulled back just a little bit. Perhaps wants to make sure that it is not going to get taken down. Bunker now being placed down, and an orbital command going to start transferring some SCVs over from the main base. Tarson sitting at 29 harvesters compared to TLO's 30 harvesters. Excuse me, I just sneezed. You didn't hear it because I muted my mic, but yeah, sorry for the little bit of quietness there. Now, Marines sitting in that bunker, and how is this all going to work out? We're looking for that Warp Prism. Warp Prism may be able to come in and do a drop onto these siege tanks. Force Field now in play as well, so those units not going to be able to drop in. Single Warp Prism dropping down, now taking a couple of those attacks. Siege tanks trying to focus down these units, and now not working out all too well. Those siege tanks really need to start focusing down LiquidTLO's sentries sitting over here. Mass Marines, and are they going to try to take down the rest of these zealots? The main building over here, Orbital Command, now being lifted off. A single mule doing some long distance mining coming back, and now we have some Marauders, another force field coming in. They're trying to able to get an attack off on those units. Warp Prism down to 79 hit points, already back up to full shields, and now more barracks being put down. So Tarson wanting to get more barracks, more infantry, as LiquidTLO already has his natural expansion as well. TLO has more harvesters, 33 compared to 21, so that is a significant advantage in terms of harvesting and all of that. I'm going to go ahead and take this break in the game to say stay tuned for part 2 of this replay between LiquidTLO and Tarson here on Incineration Zone.